What is going on, family? This is the I Am Set Apart podcast, and you are now listening to your host, Daryl Dixon Jr. I pray that everyone's day was a blessed day today. We are here. It is 2/23/2020, 11:30 p.m. I'm currently, somewhere at an undisclosed location. But I just want to chop it up with you good folks real quick about encouraging yourself in the Lord. One of my favorite scriptures is 1 Samuel chapter 30, verse 6. And this is when David and his people were coming back from a mission, and they came back to Ziklag where they had set up base, and they came back and found their camp in ruins. Their wives, their children, their possessions, everything had been carried off by the Amalekites. And they were livid. They were crying. They were weeping. They were crying so much they couldn't even cry anymore. And then the next thing that happened was there was a mutiny about to happen. They talked about wanting to kill David because he was the leader. They're basically like, look, this is your fault. And they wanted to take him out, which is kind of crazy considering the types of people that he brought into the camp along the way, in his exploits. I mean, he had all kinds of people. I'm talking about the worst of the worst, people who nobody else wanted. He took them in. And after all their exploits, after all their victorious missions they had, they come back and they're ready to kill this man because all of their possessions have been carried off. And what's interesting about this is it says David was greatly distressed, but he encouraged himself in the Lord. And this is very paramount. When we talk about the word distressed, you're talking about, if anybody who's ever been confined to a very tight space or is claustrophobic, imagine that feeling of being so pressed on each side that you're paralyzed. You can't move. You have no solutions. You can't think straight. You can't do anything. You are just stuck. And this is where David found himself. But he found strength to encourage himself in the Lord. And he asked God, he consulted with God, like, Lord, what should I do? If I pursue these band of raiders, will I recover? And he said, yes, if you go after them, you shall pursue them, you shall overtake, and you shall recover. And that's one of the scriptures I go by. You shall overtake, you shall pursue, you shall recover. And so when we find ourselves in a situation David is in, when we find ourselves in between a rock and a hard place, when we find that we are a leader of a pack, of a family, of a congregation, of employees, and they're riding with you when everything is going well. Everyone's making money, everybody's fat, everybody's happy, everybody's eating, but then something goes wrong out of the blue, and it's your fault. And now they want to kick you out of the group. They want you fired. They want you replaced. What do? Do you crawl in a fetal position and go somewhere in the corner and cower? Do you run away? Do you hide in shame? Or are you solution oriented? Are you immediately tapped in to the source, which is God? David immediately went to prayer. He went and he sought the Lord for the next move. And so there are seasons that we're going to be in where the people we're used to calling and venting to will not be available. The outlets or things we're used to, going to for release You may normally go to the gym to think. Well, your car may be broke down and the gym is 35 minutes away, so you can't get to the gym. What are you going to do? I don't know, for some, you might go down into the basement or a separate room and meditate, but the neighbors are loud. They playing the music real loud, or the wife or the husband or the kids, they banging on the door. Daddy, 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 mommy, 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 I need this, I need that. No peace, no quiet, no time to get yourself together. You might normally go for a walk, but it's too cold. It's a blizzard outside. So what are you going to do? The word said David encouraged himself in the Lord. What are you going to do when all the people, places, and things that you normally go to get some release, some understanding from are not there? And think about it. God, who is always there, he is here, he is everywhere at once. Probably 99.9% of the time gets neglected. And so we want to run to the people. We want to pick up the phone. We want to text. We want to throw messages out there on social media, cries and pleas for help, instead of going to the source who can tell you what to do, who you'll find peace. You know what? Truthfully, to be honest, 9 times out of 10, it's my personal belief, and you can disagree with me on this, but 9 times out of 10, we rely too much on the guidance and the help of other people instead of going to the Lord for ourselves, instead of praying for ourselves, instead of asking God, because that's what his word says. He says, asking you shall receive. Now, you might totally disagree with me on this, and that's okay. But just think about it. God created you. God knows you better than anybody on this earth. He knows your strengths. He knows your weaknesses. He knows your likes. He knows your dislikes. He knows every hair that is numbered on your head. He knows all. But when we ask, hey, pray my strength in the Lord, or pray for me, I'm going through. Okay, so what the heck are you doing while you're asking other people to pray for you? Are you going back to your room and hiding under the covers? Or are you going back and watching TV and you're commissioning someone else to do all the heavy lifting, when you can go to the source himself? You can go to the source yourself and say, Lord, I'm in a place where I don't know what to do and I'm losing my mind. Sometimes when you even call the person, they're not thinking you gonna call them. And so you calling them for advice and they not giving you the advice that you seek. And it pisses you off even more. And you're like, man, why did I even call this person? And it's not their fault, but you're looking for them to do something that only God can do. And I'm about to burst some of y'all bubbles. And some of y'all might not like to hear this, because there's a lot of people, contrary to popular belief, there's a lot of people, especially Christians, that think that just because they are Christian and they go to church and they tithe and they serve at the soup kitchen once or twice a week, that nothing bad is supposed to happen to them. And when it does happen to them, oh my God, why is this happening to me? When his word clearly says that this life is short and it's full of troubles. Christ said, take heart, for I have overcome the world. There were things that Christ had to overcome. Shout out to Minister Taylor for that word that she gave today, which was titled, Where Are the Overcomers? Go to the Restoration Tabernacle Facebook page and check that out if it's on there. I believe it is, but if not, just shoot me a message and I'll figure out a way to get it to you. But, he had to overcome some things. He came to this earth with a mission and a purpose, and he had a tunnel vision on getting that done, getting that completed. Even he had to go and encourage himself in the Lord. What did he say? When he was in the Garden of Gethsemane, he took James, John, and Peter, and he took them to a place, and he said, wait here while I go to my Father and pray. And Christ knew what was required of him to complete what we are partaking in and have the privilege of walking in today, which is grace. Unmerited favor that we didn't deserve. Christ went and paid the price for us to be able to be here today. And so he had to take that walk alone. And in this season of your life, there are going to be times where you're going to have to take a walk, or the walk, by yourself. You're not going to be able to take everyone to the mountaintop with you. You're going to have your days in them dark valleys. You're going to have days where everything at work isn't going well. Everything in your marriage isn't perfect or ideal. Everything in ministry isn't going according. And it has a way of wearing you out. Even so, even to the point where you got to call a thing a thing. We as humans, our nature, we those who've accepted Christ, yes, has put on a new nature. God tells us to put away old things, for behold, all things are new. Every day we have to renew ourselves with the washing of the word. We have to do that. We can't just rely on 5 minutes of reading the Bible and that we're going to be good for the 24, 48, 36 hours of crap we're going to deal with when we walk outside those doors. But understand that there are always going to be some kind of trial and tribulation, because that's just the world we live in. And so oftentimes when situations arise and they come up, what do? Do you fight or do you flight? What do you do? Do you complain about your situation, or do you go to the source and say, Lord, what do I do? Now, some people may feel that, well, I don't pray like that. Well, that's your thing, or I ain't really into that. But I'll tell you one thing. If the right disaster hits you, I don't care who you are getting on your knees and you are praying. You're either asking God to do something about it, or you're blaming him as to why he didn't stop it. I don't care who you are. I've seen it when a situation when 9/11 happened, when a situation over. Pick one. Look on the news and pick a situation. And I guarantee you either have somebody crying to God, asking, Lord, help me through this, or somebody blaming God for it happening. And just think about it. We feel some type of way when people don't call us, and only call us when they want something. But we do the same thing with God. When we don't have a pot to piss in and a window to throw it out of, Lord, please bless me. I promise I'll do X, Y, Z. Once we get it, we drop off the map. Nowhere to be found. How do you think God feels about that? That y'all only holler at me when y'all want something. Like, do you wake up every day thanking me? Do you wake up every day thanking me that your house didn't burn down, for those who live in townhomes and row houses and in apartments? Because I'm telling you, somebody go to sleep with that stove on, everybody's SO, you know the rest. But think about it. When you have those low moments, when you have those bad days, and there's no one you can call on, you can always call on the name of Jesus. And it's a conversation. Understand, folks, prayer, and I had to learn this, prayer is a two-way conversation. That means at some point you got to shut up and listen, just like David did. When he prayed, it said the Lord said. That means when he asked and made the request, he had to shut up and get the answers from God. Now, who else is going to know how to advise you best on your situation other than your Heavenly Father? And if you don't have a relationship with him, then this doesn't apply to you. I understand why you don't see the value in doing that, but I'm here to let you know, for those listening, if you don't know Christ, hey, here's the opportunity to accept him into your life right now. Because if you don't have a relationship with somebody, then it's natural for you not to trust them or believe anything or their ability to be able to deliver. So if you don't have a relationship with God, whether you're a Christian, or there are Christians who profess the name, but they really don't have a relationship. They don't know God. They don't know him in his sovereignty. Then you're not going to trust that he's able to do what it is that you're asking him to do. And so I encourage everybody who's listening to this right now. When things get rough, when you are the object of blame because you're loved. I mean, people will love you today and curse you tomorrow. And you got to understand that, you can't control what another man or how another man thinks. You can't control what their thoughts will be towards you, but what you can control is how you will respond to the situation. Are you going to go to the Lord and seek guidance, or are you going to cower and cave under pressure? And don't get me wrong, most of us have caved under that pressure, but I'm here to let you know you do not have to. So when that homie or that girlfriend you usually call isn't available, remember, God is always there. And at the end of the day, God can always do anything. He can do anything that you need him to do, as long as it's according to his will and is good for you, because he's not going to give you something that's not good for you. I'm out of time. This is Daryl Dixon Jr. If you like the podcast, please subscribe, please share, and remember, be a blessing to somebody else. Do something nice.